Doctor Strange might directly oppose the Avengers and Avengers Doomsday, not because he thinks they're evil or anything like that, but because he believes that there's only one way to save the multiverse and that the Avengers way won't actually work. And according to this new report, Doctor Strange has a very pragmatic way, just a very sensible way of thinking about the multiverse, its collapse, and how to save it. And apparently, he does not agree with the Avengers way, the Avengers plan of saving it. So therefore, in the movie, he's kind of going to oppose them. He's not necessarily going to be a villain, but he won't be an ally to the Avengers. We'll explain in this video. Now, Benedict Cumberbatch has already stated that he is going to be in the film. I've seen some people talking online wondering, well, is he going to be in the movie? He himself said yes. So originally when he was interviewed, he said, oh no, I'm not going to be in Doomsday. But then like a couple days later, he clarified, oh yeah, no, like I misspoke or I misunderstood, but he confirmed, yes, I'm going to be in the film, which makes sense because originally before Doom and all the plans changed for Marvel Studios, he was supposed to have Doctor Strange 3, right? We knew that it was supposed to pick up with Clea, go into the multiverse, and it was going to talk about how he caused incursions, which is what the post-credit scene led into. Now, that story is simply going to just pick up in Avengers Doomsday. So he's not even going to be around any of the Avengers most of the time. In fact, I believe he's going to be around Doom most of the time. And I do believe, I've been saying this for a while, Clea is actually working for Doom. I believe she'll betray Steven or kind of like mislead him. But let's get into that. I think ultimately Clea will be an ally to Strange because they marry each other in the comics. They fall in love and they marry each other. But this report is coming from Max Blizz. They don't seem to quote a source, so I'm not sure if it's an exclusive from them. They have done exclusives before, but the reason I'm going over this is because it lines up with a lot of things that insider Alex Perez said before what was going to be Doctor Strange, the plot for that. Seems like they're shifting a lot of that and just putting it in Avengers Doomsday. So it starts off by stating, Doctor Strange and Clea are reportedly returning in Marvel's Avengers Doomsday. Doctor Strange will be a part of Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom's big plan to save the multiverse from incursions. In Doomsday, Doctor Strange becomes convinced that the Avengers are incapable of stopping the multiversal collapse. Doctor Doom offers him a plan and total control over magic. Strange becomes his right-hand man. Now, if you've read the comics, you might know where this is going because that is exactly what happens in the Time Runs Out storyline that goes directly into the Secret Wars story. So in Secret Wars, when we have Battle World, Doctor Strange is Doom's right-hand man, and we have the leaked concept art for Secret Wars that has showed us Doom on his throne and Doctor Strange by his side, and on his other side, Franklin Richards with his mother, Sue Storm. So definitely seems like this is the way that it's going to go. Definitely seems like Strange is going to side with Doom, because here is what we heard about what Doctor Strange 3 was supposed to be about. It was supposed to be about basically what Reed Richards said in Multiverse of Madness, where he told Doctor Strange, in our experience, the greatest threat to the multiverse is you, Doctor Strange. Now, what's interesting is he wasn't specifically speaking about that specific Doctor Strange, about our Doctor Strange. But from what was reported, he was speaking about Doctor Strange in general. And even in Multiverse of Madness, we saw other variants that destroyed universes. We saw more than one variant. The 838 universe, that Doctor Strange, they killed him because he caused an incursion. He admitted that he did. But then at the end, with the Sinister Strange character, we went into a universe that was basically destroyed. It was still intact, but it was just Doctor Strange there, and he was an evil variant. So that was going to be the big plot of Doctor Strange 3. He was causing incursions, him and his variants all across the multiverse. That is why Clea showed up at the end. Not necessarily to go, hey, you caused an incursion, you're going to come help me fix it, but it seems like it was a trap. Because as we go on to this, it says, for Clea, initially a traitor, she appears to be an ally of Doctor Strange and the heroes, but secretly supports Doom. So this is what I think is going to go down based on what we've heard. Clea shows up and is like, hey, you specifically caused an incursion, let's go fix it. But in reality, she's working for Doom, and Doom like we've heard in a lot of reports, is kind of hunting down people who have caused incursions. That's why he's going after Steve Rogers and other people. He is truly trying to save the multiverse. Remember, he's going to view himself as a hero, and it sounds like he kind of is, at least at first, because he is truly trying to save the multiverse, and he's not the one causing the incursions. People like Doctor Strange are. So he sends Clea after Doctor Strange, basically says, I don't care what you do, just get him to me. Lie to him, whatever, manipulate him. So once he gets there, he says, you've caused all this stuff. But the premise for Doctor Strange 3 was going to be Doctor Strange realizing that he really was causing the incursions and he wants to fix them. He, of course, doesn't want the multiverse to collapse, so he wants to fix them. And that's where we get into this. It continues and says, Clea believes Doom can restore multiversal order, something the heroes are incapable of doing. Her loyalty is pragmatic, not evil. She prioritizes balance and stability in the multiverse over heroic morality. Throughout the story, she begins to doubt herself as she witnesses Doom's true plans. Creating moral and emotional tension, she will have a deadly confrontation with Sylvie at the TVA, which is very interesting. But it's said to be the same for Doctor Strange. It says Doctor Strange becomes the executor of Doom's plan as he manipulates incursions and controls the TVA, which is interesting. Strange also prioritizes the survival of the multiverse over the local heroes, driven by pragmatism and an obsession with saving the multiverse. Basically, what was going to happen in Doctor Strange 3 is going to happen in this film. So it's not that Doctor Doom is going against the Avengers because he's like, they're wrong. It's that he truly doesn't believe they can do anything to save the multiverse. And if we think about it, who could really do anything? Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch, they would probably be the only people who could really do something big. Reed Richards and Shuri and Beast, Hank McCoy, sure, they could probably come up with something, but I think it's a little too late. So Shuri, from what we've heard from reports, is the one who initially recognizes or realizes or detects that an incursion is going to happen. So then they go to the TVA, because Loki would probably be the only other person who could possibly do something about this. But it sounds like Doctor Strange, who probably still thinks Loki is a villain, because if I recall correctly, the last time he saw him was Thor Ragnarok, and he had him prisoner. Well, he kept him falling. And the whole reason he went to Thor was because, Loki was on his radar. If he ever came to Earth, he was supposed to, protect Earth and get rid of Loki. So he pretty much believes he's a villain. And I'm assuming Doom wants Loki's powers, which is why he kind of sends his henchmen, Clea and Doom. And I think they're probably going to have like the Black Priests or something like that, like the Black Swans, be his group, his team of people. And they're going to go to the TVA, and that's where we're going to get like a really giant battle. Doctor Doom will be there as well. So Doctor Strange is going to be pragmatic, right? So it seems like when he meets Doctor Doom, Doom is going to explain how Doom is the savior of the multiverse. He is the only person who can stop the incursions. He's the only person who can reverse them. The Avengers can't do anything. And it sounds like Doctor Strange is going to go, okay, yeah, that makes sense. What could the Avengers possibly do? Actually, some of the Avengers have caused incursions like himself. Like Steve Rogers caused one, reportedly, by going back in time and doing something. We don't know yet. And it's said that Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter might actually be in the Avengers Doomsday trailer. They have over 30 made, whichever one they choose. Hopefully it does have Steve Rogers in it. Hopefully they give us a little bit about why Doom is, hunting them down, which I do believe is because they're causing incursions. So sounds like Doctor Doom is going to be pretty convincing. And again, this happens in the comics. Doctor Doom is trying to kill all the Molecule Men in every universe because they're bombs created by the Beyonders to destroy the entire multiverse. And so eventually Doom is like, there's only one thing we can do. Kill the Beyonders and save one thing. And Doctor Strange agrees. Doctor Doom's like, isn't it worth it if we can save something? Even if it's just one world that I rule over? And Doctor Strange is like, yes. So then we get Battle World, and he is his right-hand man, Sheriff Strange. That's what happens. So sounds like they're going to stay pretty true to that in the MCU, which does make sense based on everything we've seen about Doctor Strange. Even in What If, Doctor Strange causing the destruction of an entire universe, Sounds like that's the same for a lot of Doctor Strange variants throughout the multiverse, and they could be a pretty big reason why the multiverse is collapsing, why several incursions have happened. And don't forget about everything that happened in Spider-Man No Way Home. Doctor Strange probably is a little bit guilty for a lot because of No Way Home and, of course, Multiverse of Madness. So, looks like he's going to be on the other side. He's probably not going to kill anybody, right? But he is probably going to help Doom get the powers of Loki and maybe some other heroes as well so he can save something. I like this. I don't like Doctor Strange opposing them, but I do like that Doom as a villain is going to be more than just, oh, he's just an evil guy, but he has a good backstory and he's kind of charming. I mean, it is Robert Downey Jr. and he's suave and charismatic and manipulative to the point to where people actually do see his reasoning and see his side to where he does actually get loyal followers, to where the audience will ask, well, is Doom actually wrong? Well, no, the Avengers caused some problems and Doom is actually trying to fix them until ultimately we figure out his true motive, which is, of course, probably for him to rule over everything, which is what Secret Wars will be, most likely, in Battleworld. So go ahead, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. I like it, and I think this is what's actually going to happen, but let me know what you think. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest videos. You can also find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Snapchat. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.